Initially, when we were learning about FGM from survivors, their stories, we were just in complete disbelief as how this practice could be ongoing, because how is it possible that women would be willing to administer this to children, where in the worst case scenarios, in unsanitary conditions, unsterile tools, and completely unanesthetized, where up to 4 women will be holding down a child, a 4 or 5-year-old child, and pinning them down, 4 of them, so that one cutter can commit the crime. How could it be possible that all of these women could be complicit in this and not one of them stop and say, this is wrong, stop, no, never again, this has to stop? These women have been victims of FGM themselves, so they know not only the suffering that the child is going through right now, but also the years of misery that this is going to bring, the suffering for the whole rest of their child's life. So how could they be willing to complete this cycle? How could the parents be complicit in this, where even if they're not involved themselves in the actual act, they still have to betray their own children by tricking them, almost kidnapping them to take them along to somewhere where they're going to be pounced on? I just couldn't reconcile it. But then suddenly we just realized, the more we looked into people's stories, that, and sometimes children blame their parents, sometimes they don't. They sometimes see it from their point of view. But some of the survivors recognize that they wouldn't want to speak out unless it was anonymous, because they were so scared of bringing shame on their families, shame on their communities. And to them, their tradition is so important, because the alternative, as awful as this is even worse, and that's being an outcast. And to them, there is nothing worse, because community is everything. Their community is their world. And so, as hard as that is to take on, that's why we find that we're so pleased that we're giving people a voice, allowing their stories to be heard, and that we can bring about pressure from outside, because that's how things are going to change, when governments bring in a ban and it gets rolled out across the country, and when we talk to cultural leaders inside the communities and they can say, no, stop, this is not happening anymore. That's when a whole community, a whole village can be freed of this practice, and that is when they can say this generation is the last generation that's ever going to witness what's happened, no more. That's why we're positive, that's why we're optimistic, because we know we can do that.